Chuck.
Okay, it's going live. Perfect! Okay, we are live. We are live. Good evening, virtual Congress. Good evening, virtual Congress. It is an honor to be here this evening. I'm your host, Chuck Stewart. This stream is presented and produced by the Maximus Times and, as always, supported by the FEC. We have some huge races lined up tonight, and we have some guests that are going to be joining us as well. So, let's just get right into it. So once again, I'm your host, Chuck Stewart, and I'm joined tonight by Chief Election Correspondent Connor Harris. Good evening, Connor.
Good evening, Chuck. And just as always, it's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, I see that we've had. Okay, perfect. And we're joined by a few guests as well. We're joined by President Joey DiCarlo. Good evening, Joey.
Hello.
Okay,
How are you?
I'm great, Joey. Thank you. We're also joined by presidential candidate Emery Broadman. Good evening, Emery.
Good evening, Chuck. I'm really happy to be here.
And Falcon Montezuma may be joining us later, so we'll see about that. Behind the scenes, we have Kyuko Chan and Jim Butterson, both members of the FEC. I'd like to thank them for their help in this election. And thanks to the FEC as a whole, and Holly Toward as the oversight of the FEC team, and a huge, huge thanks to all of the candidates, whether you're running for president or just for the House. It's a huge amount of work, and from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure all my colleagues in the FEC agree, thank you so much for making this community a better place. Although it makes our job more difficult if we have more material to grade, it's just more enjoyable as we have more competitive races. So, thank you. So, let's jump right into it with some presidential results. Do this actually. Perfect. Okay, so presidential results. And to our guests, okay, so let's get right into it with the first batch of presidential results, everybody. So, with 12% reporting, guys, once again, 12% reporting, we see here that Emery Bardman has 50.73% of the vote, Marcus J. Eden has 42.58% of the vote, Alexander Morales has 6.42% of the vote. Therefore, here at Maximus Times, we have to say that it is too early to call this presidential election. With only 12% reporting, a huge amount of votes could change. And, well, it's just simply too early to call. Let's see what our chief correspondent, Connor Harris, has to say.
Well, Chuck, let's talk about everything going on here. Coming into this race, we have a former president versus a sitting governor. So, while yes, traditionally when we look at how balloting is run, typically we will see a large Republican edge in early ballots, but as the night goes on, we typically see more Democratic ballots coming in via vote by mail, et cetera, et cetera. So I predict that we may see a very, very slight Broadman win, given that additionally the electorate is leaning to the right by 5 points. Not to say that she can't pick up this race, but it will be a very, very, very strong challenge for her. Well, former President Broadman, do you have any comment?
I think, honestly, I'll give it to you. I think that you're right. This race has definitely been a tough race. Um, Props to Eaton and his running mate, Noah Constructor. They have been on point, and it's been a really tough battle, and I'm excited either way it comes out. I'm
Thank,
excited to see who comes out on top.
thank you, Emery. And Joey, President DiCarlo, do you have anything to say?
Um, yeah, it's it's only 12% in, so anything can happen. Hey, my race was close, so I was at what 30 something percent, and I jumped 12 points. after the second second round. So anything can happen. It's still way too early to call it.
Yeah. Oh, and I see
Additionally,
that. Oh,
mm,
never mind.
while
Connor,
we're
what were you
sitting
saying?
here talking about while we're sitting here talking about this, perennial candidate Alexander Morales, while registered as a Republican, has been known to be pretty left leaning. So it's going to be very interesting to see when he does get eliminated. Unfortunately, we all see it coming. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. When he gets eliminated as the rounds progress, the question really comes to who are Morales supporters going to be throwing their support behind? Are they going to be throwing their support behind former President Broadman, given that he himself is a fairly left leaning individual? Or are they going to simply be looking at his partisan affiliation and be putting their support behind Governor Eaton?
Oh, that's very interesting. Um, so let's move on to Olympia Senate results. This wasn't a very heavily contested race. We only saw, obviously, one candidate here running against a write-in, so I think we all expect what the results will be, but let's just see here. So, Olympia Senate Class 1 with greater than 95% reporting. I'm not going to pronounce that name, but Evelina Heina Luoma coming in with 89.79% of the vote, and Oliver Hersey, the writing candidate, just 10.2%. So obviously here at Maximus, we can project that uh, Miss Heina Luoma will be a senator-elect and will be sworn in uh, shortly. Obviously not a huge surprise here. Um, although Oliver Hersey is the governor, I just clearly couldn't. He just clearly could not get out the vote as a write-in, um, and we really did not see that much strong campaigning from him either. Does anyone have anything to say?
Well, let's be honest, waging a writing campaign is hard work. I know from experience, I had a running mate that forgot to sign up. So I had to really put in the time and the effort to assist my running mate to being successful in a campaign. So I'm very surprised to see Governor Hersey not particularly put forth a lot of effort into his campaign, which, given that he didn't run for reelection for governor of Olympia, means that for now, I believe we're going to see a very strongly encouraged retirement.
Ah, yes. If no one else has anything to add, I think we can move on. So let's
Wait,
move.
what?
Just let's see. We've just been joined by Falcone Montezuma, and we are just here going over the Olympia Senate Class 1 results, your home state, actually. So if you have anything to add, now would be the perfect
Oh,
time.
wow. So Oliver Hersey losing his I think third bid for US Senate or fifth bid for US Senate kind of shows that he's kind of unpopular here in the state of Olympia. Even though he won like 75% of the vote for the governorship, but that was due to the candidate running against him. But I think due to basically the lack of action he took during the storm and basically the hurricane, I think that's what cost him his Senate bid, and that's why Senator-elect Evelyn has won their race.
Thank you, thank you.
So that's all I had.
Thank you, former Senator. Thank you, Senator. Moving on to the Frontier Senate results. My home state, so state very near and dear to my heart. Based on 95% reporting, obviously, we can project that Mike Madigan will be elected to the U.S. Senate from Frontier, running unopposed with no significant write-in opposition. He easily garners 90.404% of the vote. As a Frontier voter, I can say I really expected this. I mean, I don't think anyone expected anything to the contrary. Um, Congratulations to Senator-elect Madigan. I don't know if
Can I
anyone.
comment on this?
Yes, yes, of
Or
course.
I believe that basically, I feel like after that special election where he was running against a political nobody like uh Timothy Pope, I think basically it was expected that he was gonna win and run unopposed after his landslide victor, like his like demolishment of the incumbent Republican senator before him. But I believe that due to Mike Madigan's popularity as like the former governor of the state and two-time senator of the state basically shows that basically he is a hard candidate to beat and that there's no way you're actually gonna unseat him. So he's here to stay, really.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything to say?
Well, I'll just chime in. I've worked with now Senator Madigan on many issues. I know him to be competent, well spoken, well versed, and very strong willed politically. So I am personally very pleased to see him continue to serve the state of Frontier in its current form as their senator. I'm also very interested to see now, giving Senator Madigan's tenure as a senator, a former governor, what else could we possibly see from him? Are we going to possibly see a bid for president in the future? Or is he going to maybe stay content in the Senate? That's purely speculation. I don't know. But I think with such a strong showing in his home state, there is energy for him. And I think it would be worth his while to maybe consider tapping into some of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Having worked with uh, Senator-elect Madigan, I think
Oop.
definitely uh, good choice. Good choice.
Okay. So,
I agree too.
I hear that across the
Moving on.
country, more presidential ballots have been reported. So, uh, I my assistant is telling me not all ballots have been reported yet. So, I mean, we'll still see a much better picture than we did at the um last point. But I think we're expecting to still be around 60-50% of the vote reporting. Okay, with 57% in the first round, Emery Broadman drops down to 45.7% of the vote. Marcus Eden picking up that slack and moving up to 48.96%. Alexander Moraes losing just under a point and now sitting at 5.3%. Obviously, with just over 57% in, we still project this as not too early. Because if one candidate had a very strong lead, it would be able to call it, but too close to call here. Still just a 3 point margin between Broadman and Eden. Still really anybody's game here with over 40% of the votes left to tally. Uh, Connor, what do you have to say?
Well, here's what I'll say on that. If my prediction that the electorate for perennial candidate Alexander Morales leans left, then we can see Dr. Emory Broadman Harris sweeping with well, I won't even say sweeping, but she'll coast gently with a 51-49 victory over Governor Eaton. However, if people voted for perennial candidate Morales based off of his political affiliation, then unfortunately we see what would be a very strongly handed victory to Governor Eaton and a very, very, very quite loud defeat of former President Broadman Harris. What I'm believing, given that we have seen this shift between 12 and 57%. I'm not going to say that the rest of the votes are going to necessarily lean in this exact same manner where the Democrats are going to be trailing, especially given the political environment leans to the right. I'm believing that we've seen an influx of right leaning ballots. I do believe, given past trends of the electorate, we may see some realignment towards the left. So honestly, I still believe it's anybody's game. It really comes down to whether or not candidates are have marketed themselves strongly and whether the electorate really wants to see a candidate with more experience or if they want to try new ideas. That's really what it's going to boil down to. And I do believe that really still leaves us in this point of being too close to call.
Okay, thank you. I think let's hear from presidential candidate Broadman. What do you think of these results?
Um,
Sorry about that.
Honestly, I mean, I think that it's a very, very close race. I think it will be a very close race down to the very end. So I'm not too surprised to see it fluctuating back and forth. Definitely making my heart, go a little, do a little bit of a jump and dance, but I, I'm still excited to see the end results.
Okay, thank you. Um, okay, so let's move on here. Next, we're getting some Senate results from the state of, oh, from the state of Pacifica. Let's see what's going on there. Great, 95% reporting. We see here that Kayla Whitmer has easily defeated Arnold Eden, 90.2% of vote to his 9.8%. Quite a large defeat. So obviously here we can project that Kayla Whitmer will easily walk away with a victory here.
And, I believe that now Senator elect Whitmer will do well in this role. I'm very interested to see how she's going to use her newfound legislative talent, transitioning from her executive talent. I also believe that she had such a strong
Yeah.
performance because, as you all can remember, there, excuse me, there was a very mild tsunami that did affect the islands of Hawaii, and her response was prompt and effective. And I
Mhm.
believe that voters really resonated with that, and they want to see more competency in their elected officials moving forward.
Thank
Oh,
you. I don't know if anyone else has any more comments.
um, I'll just say this, that basically I feel like her popularity as governor of Pacifica and basically transitioning the state um basically back to the right direction from the Wallace regime, as I would call it, basically has increased her popularity a lot, and especially when she took decisive action. Hawaii, and I feel like that basically helped her basically get a landslide victory that is so rightfully deserved for her, and that basically made her now Senator-elect Whitmer.
Thank you. Um, Move on to some Olympia gubernatorial results. Well, this is quite a heavily contested race here. I mean,
Oof.
two strong candidates, former Senator Ashley Eden combined with former Senator Falcon Montezuma, the left and the right here in Olympia.
Current senator, correction.
Apologies, current
Current
Senator
senator.
Falcon Montezuma. Um, quite, Olympia, contrary to popular belief, has known to be quite a swing state. I mean, most states honestly have been. But, well, uh, let's see. 95% reporting. We can see that Falcon Montezuma will walk away with 50.99% of vote, to
Wow.
Ashley Eden's 49.01% of vote. Therefore, at Maximus Times, we can project that Falcon Montezuma will walk away with a victory as governor. Um,
Oh.
Obviously, I'm not sure if this is within recount range. It may be. I'm sure if it is, then
Well,
the Eden campaign will be filing a recount, but we'll see.
well,
Um, I don't believe it's within recount range, if I
Yeah.
remember properly.
mm-mm,
It's it's
because,
about 2%. I think that's, while unfortunate for former Senator Ashley Eaton, who may be of questionable relation to current presidential candidate Marcus Eaton, I don't think she falls within the range to recount this.
Mm.
While
me too.
unfortunate, while unfortunate for her, we can see that the Olympia governorship remains in left leaning hands in this very, very challenging right leaning environment, which now brings the question of
Oh,
given given former Senator Ashley Eaton's previous scandals, which may or may not be negated by current Senator Moctezuma's scandals, no offense, it's very interesting to see how this electorate really split on this issue.
I
Yeah.
would like to
Just before, congratulations, we have Senator Montezuma in here. Congratulations to the
um,
governor-elect. But I'd also like to say I agree, Connor, and I wonder if this could have any ramifications for the presidential race.
I agree.
Seeing
um,
as there's a very, very slight left-leaning win here in this state that normally
um,
goes more left-leaning.
um, can I comment?
Of course, of course.
Sure, you
Yeah, you
As
just
won.
won.
governor-elect. Um, the other thing I would also like to correct here is that Ashley's not a Republican. She's an indie, and I'm kind of shocked at the closeness of the race, and especially this race was a long, hard fought battle for basically this governor seat because of the scandals that came along with the campaign trail, especially the lawsuit and basically scandals from my side and her side of the campaign. But I am thankful that the people of the great Commonwealth of Olympia have elected me as their next governor. And I am happy to be your next governor of Olympia. Thank you, Olympia, for electing me as your new governor. Thank you very much. And you made history today by electing your first transgender Native American governor ever.
Congratulations to
Thank you.
Olympia.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I just have to add, I mean, congratulations. I mean, I was backing you the whole time, and I'm so excited to see um, you be projected as the governor-elect for Olympia, despite, of course, everybody knows about the lawsuits that have been happening with the Olympia campaign. And unfortunately, it does look like it will be just out of recount range for Ashley Eaton, who is an independent. But
Actually,
congratulations, a
Yeah,
big
I
win.
am.
uh, excuse me,
I'm
I was
just
getting
hearing word
told.
from my one of my producers. She said this is actually just barely within the recount range for the state of Olympia. Um,
Oh,
just
wow.
Wow.
0.01% within the range. So, we could see if the results will shift to the left or to the right within this recount.
Well,
I'm sure that the Eden camp will be filing that request in the coming hours or
yeah.
days. And we will see how that turns out. It's going to be very interesting.
Yes, I agree. I'm now that I've gotten my clarification because I had people in my ear confirming that this is literally just barely within recount. We're talking the the difference between this being in recount and out of recount may be about 5 to 10 votes. It's very, very slightly within recount range. And I because of that, I'm more certain than I am not the Eaton campaign is going to file a recount in this election. So the margin may shift, but for now, until we get more information, I'm fairly confident that we're going to see that the Olympia governorship remains in left control.
I agree, Connor, and I do think that it's going to be a uphill battle for the Eden campaign here. Just barely making it within recount range. Just to flip a whole percentage of votes is going to be quite difficult for them, or as well to find ballots that were cast incorrectly. Probably a few thousand as opposed to the potentially 5 to 10 that separated them from being within the range of recount. However, obviously it's possible. Anything is possible, as we've seen in the past, but, well, we will see what happens. I don't know if we have a reaction from the uh, presumptive
Um,
governor-elect.
Hello. Basically, I will be saying to the recount and seeing that this race is recounted to see the margin of victory, but we'll see.
Okay. Thank you, Governor elect. Well, tentative governor-elect, I guess I should say now with the recount pending.
Presumptive.
Presumptive tentative. Oh, well, we do have another wave of presidential results coming in, folks. With 79% of the vote reporting, we see Emery Rodden with 46.96% of the vote, Marcus J. Eden with 47.81% of the vote, and Alexander Morales with 5.23% of the vote. Emery Rodman is narrowing the race, as we can see here with the last 20%. However, obviously still too close, way too close to call, even closer than when we had just 50% of the vote. Obviously, we still have just over 20% of the vote remaining. It's still very possible that either campaign can pull out with a win here. Most likely not gonna require most likely gonna require a second round here, but obviously it is possible if there's a huge surge in these last 20% of the vote for one candidate or another that we do see one candidate just scraping it up to 50% of the vote here. But really, I mean, I think anything is possible here still, other than a Morales victory, obviously.
I'm sorry. I just had something happen off screen. Forgive me for that. Um, if you know, you know. If you know what just happened and you saw what I just saw, you know. But um, um, Emery, take it away for a second. I need a minute.
Are you okay, Connor? Are you okay? I'll take it away. Okay. I agree. I have been saying the entire time this is super, super close race. I mean, me and Eaton have been, it has been a fierce competition. I personally, I think it will definitely end up going into a second round. Uh, if it manages where one of us ends up scraping up that 50.01%, then amazing. But I definitely think we'll see a second round for sure. And it's just I can't wait. I can't wait. This has been an insane election season. So much has been happening,
Yes,
and yeah, I
yes.
just wow.
And
Okay, Connor.
you're I apologize, everyone. I needed to step away and get myself together. Um, so for this to be an R+5 environment, this is a very disappointing performance by Governor Eaton. I don't know whether his performance has been affected by reports that he attempted to purchase the region of Arkansas or other reports that he may have attempted to purchase Wisconsin. I've heard very well, I've also heard he attempted to purchase Utah. So I don't know if this underperformance is in response to what appears to be a substantially underwhelming performance in this environment. However, I will say I strongly believe that this is going to come to need to go to another round where voters are really going to need to see how well they have played the electorate. Well, not played the electorate, how well they've campaigned towards the electorate, forgive me. But also, I think people should start seeing what is it that Alexander Morales is doing to garner the support of just over 5% of the electorate.
I mean, yeah, if we think about that, with a population of around 350 million in America, let's say we have a 60% turnout rate, that's going to be just about 100, probably 160 to 200 million people voting here. Um, just because, um, but it really shows that's even 5% of just 150 million people. That's still a few million people. Well, it's about 7 million, 7.5 million
Yeah,
people,
exactly.
7.5 million people voting for Alexander Morales. in an environment where he has consistently shown that he is just a perennial candidate, really seeming to be at like a protest vote at this point, I have to say.
And that is going to be very interesting. Did Morales voters vote for anybody in second choice?
Exactly. And if they
Because
didn't, then we may have to have a second election if that's the case.
yeah, that would be very alarming to see how that's going to play out and what exactly this is going to mean for the Eaton and Broadman Harris campaigns. Additionally, while we're here, I would like to talk a little bit about their running mates because I feel like that also has a bit
A
of an
big effect,
influence
yeah.
on an election. So, as everyone knows, Governor Eaton originally was running with Senator Athena Callis of Pacifica, who has, how do I put this politely?
Disappeared.
Um, she has gone on a sabbatical, for lack of better word, and now he has picked up his campaign with Speaker Noah Constrictor, who is very well known as a strong libertarian. So socially, the Eaton Constrictor campaign is very conservative, especially noted by their um their very strong support for, how do I want to say this? Their very strong pro-life stance. Meanwhile, you have the Broadman Harris Bolton campaign, which is very much the opposite, very socially to the left, very, I'm not going to say progressive, but I would say center left.
Mm.
And they're very focused on, protecting individual rights and ensuring that we as a nation are prosperous socially
Oh.
as well as fiscally. So I think this is going to be very interesting to see though how those vice presidents are going to kind of balance this out. I'm getting some news. I need to step
Oh,
out of the studio for a brief moment. I will be back, but there's some news going on over at Wall Street that I need to take care of.
Oh, that's totally understandable. Um, we'll see you soon, Connor. Um, I'm just gonna let our guests talk for a moment
I
here.
was gonna
Um, yeah.
I
So
was
feel
gonna
free to
comment on
comment. Yes.
the presidential thing. The other thing as well to add on to Connor's comment, um, he also basically the recent case where that abortion ban that Eaton has made in Frontier recently got overturned by a court, by the federal court, because he did not respond in the 3-day notice that he was given. And basically, due to that, he basically, his abortion ban was overturned. And basically, that kind of like screwed over his own campaign. And basically, this is kind of like why we see the race tightening up as it is right now.
Yeah, I remember Bolton, my running mate, Anthony Bolton, was sharing the news with me about Eaton not responding, giving the response in time. And I think that was a huge deal, honestly, when you think about it. A governor, who has signed this bill into law, and then when it is challenged, I mean, really not even bothering to respond in time. So that was a huge thing, at least for me to see. So
Okay. Um, so I think we're gonna be moving on now to the Pacifica gubernatorial results. Let's see. Daniel Crenshaw here, the Republican, running unopposed, greater than 95% reporting. An easy win here. Just over 88% just under 88% of the vote, excuse me. Redirect here. Unless someone wants to make a brief comment, I think we can move along. Okay, so let's move on. Presidential results, everybody. I'm hearing word that these may be the final results of the night, everyone. I mean, it's a big deal, and I'm also hearing word from my assistants while they get their graphics ready. Apologies for the stalling here, but the assistants are just finalizing everything. That we may have seen a large shift in the vote count, so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Just gonna wait for a moment for Mr. Harris.
Just get to the results, damn it.
Let's just, excuse me.
Get to the results. That's what they said.
1 second, please. Apologies, everybody. Just seeing if.
I think we should get to the results.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your opinion. Your opinion is noted. Okay, so you know what? I think we're gonna move on. Well, yes, we have heard that there's been a large. Just before I show these results. Quite interesting here. Oh, we've seen a large shift, and with greater than 95% reporting, Emery Broadman drops down to 36.03% of the vote. Marcus Eden
Classic
climbs to
Eaton W.
58% of the vote.
Eaton W.
Alexander Morales, 5.1% of the vote. Therefore, here at Insight News, we can project Marcus J. Eden is elected President of the United States in a
Vice
shocking
President
victory,
Noah.
including
Yes.
Vice President Noah Constrictor, Speaker Noah Constrictor, who's been looking to get into the executive for a long time. A shocking victory here. Honestly, I didn't even see this coming after the last
Me
round
either.
of results. A huge shift after those last results. Clearly some deep red counties were lagging behind on their reporting, if that was the case. But um, really just shocking results here. I mean, so I apologize to former President Broadman, but it seems that it's quite a large victory for
You know, it was
President-elect
a hard
Eden.
battle. It was a hard and well fought battle. So I mean, I give my congratulations to Eaton. It was a good run.
Congratulations.
I'm sorry, I had an emergency to handle it while in broad. What just happened?
Um, Mr. Harris, we can project that Marcus Eden is elected President of the United States.
Classic Eaton W. Classic Eaton W.
Yep.
So, may I make a few remarks,
Of course,
Mr.
Mr.
Chuck?
President.
Oh, see, a lot of the people have been. We've seen a lot of a left wing dynasty in terms of presidents for the last 6 months. We can say we are now at a turning point where the people want to see something different, and
Yeah.
Governor Eaton has been a rising figure, and he's shown it. And hey, the record of Noah is certainly something not to be ignored. I think that contributed heavily to it. So, and Noah has been on tickets and stuff before, so it's really a pleasure to see him finally make it to the top as in one of the as vice president or president. It's really nice to see him be up there after many people have been wanting it for a long time. Even myself, I never thought Noah would. I always thought Noah would get there, but it is nice to see him up there. But yeah, congratulations, President-elect Eaton and Vice President-elect
Congratulations.
Noah. Eaton will be the 78th President of the United States.
Yes, yes.
God bless America.
Mr. Harris, do you have any comments here?
Um, no.
I'll just comment
I
this
missed
that
the. I'm sorry. I was not here for the margin, so
Oh,
I can't
apologies.
correlate.
Let me just go back to that. Once again, Emery Broadman losing a lot of ground here, 36.03% of the
No.
vote. Marcus Eden coming away with 58.87% of the vote. Really a shocking turnaround in the final moments of the race for President-elect Eden.
Well, I guess that's the ball game.
Yes, it is. No other comments?
Um,
I would just say I think he just made history right now because this is the first Republican president since Alexander Cross.
yeah,
And I
the
think
Well,
kind of
it's not the
his,
first. No, it's not the first right wing though, because you had Miguel and
it's not the
Sandoval.
first right
yeah,
wing,
I
but
know,
the
but
first
this makes
Republican
history for
president
the
since
Republican
Alexander.
Party
Yes,
Well,
since Alexander
because
Cross,
there hasn't been a Republican president since Cross, so
well, if
that's
and there
he
basically what
hasn't
I'm
been.
pointing out.
he in
However, we do need to be careful because the let's again, in the spirit of being transparent, we just have to be 100% sure that I wish um President-elect Eaton well. I do hope he doesn't follow in the shoes of his predecessor. And I do hope that he does also take into account the recent congressional results and he knows what the electorate wants. It may not necessarily have been embodied by the Broadman Harris Bolton campaign, but the electorate is not as far right as it may seem. And just remember, speaking as a former president, your job is to the people. You have an agenda, yes. However, you do still need to be responsive because every American is your constituent, not just the Americans who voted.
I wholeheartedly agree, Mr.
well,
Harris.
this is certainly something.
Oh, it's something, all right.
I
Hmm.
mean, hey, they give him almost 60%. That's higher than my margins. So they have pretty much put their trust. Almost a super major. Well, a clear majority of Americans really trust the
Oh,
Republican vision
I
that has
just
been
got
laid
an
out
update.
here
I just
in the
got
dynasty. What?
I just got an update from the Socialist Party. Turns out I might become the new Socialist Party leader after
Well,
the results from the presidential election.
the Socialist Party is, you know, there,
Yeah.
but this is certainly a defeat for former President Broadman.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it to him. I'll give credit where credit's due. It was a hard earned win.
Yeah.
This is I definitely say this is one of the fastest ascensions. He's been governor for what, 4 months? No, not
You
even like
know,
3, and now he's president elect. So he really
He's
this
been
is
governor for like
Going to be
2
and I
very
months.
thought mine
interesting
I thought mine over a year was
because
fast. Took him
because
3 months.
let's be 100% clear here. This is highly interesting, and I worry that Frontier's really just gotten back on its feet with stable governance. It's going to be very questionable to see what happens to Frontier now that they're losing an executive again, which if precedent tells us anything, we're going to have a very, very interesting time out of Frontier in the foreseeable future.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the House results
Well,
will be released.
the left wing dynasty comes to an end.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you at November.
Yep. See y'all
Well,
in November.
yeah, I mean, the House results wondering, for those running in House results, for those wondering about those, they will be released online in Maximus Times' portal, election announcement. But, uh, congratulations to all those who won in the stream. Huge congratulations to President-elect Eden on pulling off this win. Uh, quite a large victory. No, some might consider a landslide, seeing as he won with over a 10% margin. But congratulations to President-elect Eden. Apologies. Congratulations to all the senators and governors-elect, and premature congratulations to all of the representative-elect that are going to be announced on the Maximus Times portal. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. I've been Chuck Stewart. I'd like to thank our chief correspondent, Connor Harris, for his time. And I'd like to thank all of our guests for chiming in. And once again, I'd like to thank all of the candidates, whether they won or lost in this election, for providing such an interesting election with so many competitive races. Thank you, and